draft who can contribute right away, which is kind of a rarity for this team. Is that something that you came up with after looking at this draft class, or just a happy circumstance that there's going to be a lot of guys who can probably fill that role for you where you're going to be picking?
Maybe some of both. We need it with our limitations as far as what we can spend in free agency. We'd like to draft a guy that can play. It's been 4 years of our major core playing a lot of minutes, and so we recognize that. You guys probably saw that last season as well. So the idea of having some youth that can step on the floor and give us some good minutes, it's appealing. That doesn't mean we have to take a guy like that. Kavan was a guy we drafted a few years ago that took a couple years but got there. Damian Jones is hopefully coming along. Jordan got some minutes, which is somewhat rare for a rookie on a championship team. So it's hard to say. Sometimes in our range, you do see more upperclassmen. A lot of the the freshmen and sophomores seem to go earlier. But on draft night, two days away, we'll take the best player that's available.
Are you zeroing in on like a wing, a position of need, or are you open to a big or a point guard if needed?
You know, we have our philosophy is usually just take the best guy we can, but we probably have more bigs than wings. It's at least young bigs on our roster, but that doesn't mean we won't go that direction. Some of it depends on, at 28, you're kind of at the mercy of what happens above you. And what we've always done is what we think rates the highest on our board we'll take. And if we don't get the position we want, we'll try to shore that up in free agency. We've been able to buy second-round picks. Joe has allowed us that opportunity, and so we've been pretty aggressive in that vein of trying to grab extra picks. That's something we would certainly look at, and he said so. It's a good chance for us to stay as young as we can with a core that's certainly not old, but getting young players, good quality players in free agency is pretty hard to do.
So you want 2 players out of this draft?
Sure, we want 3 or 4, but can't get them. Yeah, the draft is great. I mean, it's the best chance to build a team or try to shore up needs. It's youth, it's potential, and that's how you keep your hopefully window open longer. It's hard to do though when you're drafting later in the first or in the second, but you may get lucky and get a Draymond, you never know. These picks matter, take it very seriously. So sure, you want to take as many swings as you can because it's a very inexact science at 28 and beyond in the draft. The correlation between success gets worse the later you go in the draft.
Do you find cooperation amongst other GMs like the same as always, or do they hate you because you want to
hate? No, I mean, I don't know, maybe they're nice though when I talk to other teams. I've always had good rapport with the other teams, and so it doesn't seem to be any different. The draft I was saying to somebody today, the draft for me and our group, it's enjoyable. We don't get to have guys like Larry Harris. A lot of people are scouts. Reggie and Lamont are not here locally. Coaches are with each other all the time. We are much more satellite. Somebody's in a different region. So for me, it's fun to see our group together making these decisions. They've done a great job in the last few years. And so I actually just like the camaraderie. And then certainly it's that time of year where you do talk to other teams, where, you know, that's really just the trade deadline. And now you don't talk to teams much in free agency. So yeah, you get to kind of catch up with some of the other teams. And they've all been nice.
How would you evaluate the depth of this draft? How deep do you think it is?
I think it's pretty deep. I think there's guys we like at where we're picking, which means it goes into the late first. I think it probably goes into the early second. That's a little bit of the eye of the beholder thing. I mean, you might not think it is, and I do. I don't know what the league perception of it is. It certainly seems like there's a lot of wing depth, and which is a position that seems to be coveted by the league right now. But that means there's a lot of good big guys at the top, and so it's as long as we feel that way and we feel like we can like somebody at 28, that's the most important thing to us.
Hey Bob, when you're looking at the recent success you guys had, late first round picks and being able to buy in the second round, what were some of the things that you guys wanted on your checklist that determined who you guys got? For us,
we need role guys, complementary pieces, guys that are going to work hard, guys that are going to fit in, have one specific skill that fits what we're looking for. But for us, we've been fortunate. I'm fortunate that we can put whoever we draft with the players we can put them with, to watch Steph working out on that basket right there every day after practice, or play down on that one, or Kevin, wherever he is. It's a luxury for us to bring a young player into this environment with Steve and his staff and kind of show them what winning looks like. We in the front office are fortunate to have that, and so, you know, if you put somebody in a good home, chances are they're going to be reared and raised well. So we get that opportunity here. So we're looking for people that love basketball, that want to work hard. Nobody that you draft, I think, if they're not willing to get better or actually do get better, you kind of failed on the pick. So we want guys that are going to work hard. And we think we do a pretty good job of that. We're not perfect by any stretch. Everybody could go back and redraft. It's a hard thing to do. People work very hard to get it right, but you don't get it right all the time. So yeah, I mean, we've had some success, and there's ones that we haven't gotten right too.
You can look at guys like Jordan and maybe Patrick too, in the sense that they were drafted with guys whose defense may be a little ahead of their offense in some ways. And then I heard guys that have come in the last few days saying that you guys do more on defense. Is that just one way to try and gauge a guy's love of basketball, if he'll play defense? Or, I mean, why the emphasis on defense?
Well, you know, I think in this league it seems to be, if you can't guard, and you guys followed the playoffs, they will pick on you, and they will exploit you. And so players that can defend their position can play basketball. I mean, if you surround a player that's defensive minded with scoring, which we're fortunate to have some scoring, you can put them on the floor. And I think, I assume every team does value that too, but again, that could be unfair because we have a lot of scoring with our core guys. Doesn't mean you don't want bench scoring. I mean, I'm the first one to say we don't get a lot of bench scoring. We have a lot of scoring in our main guys. Love to have both, but if a player can score and defend his position, usually they're gone before we pick, or are in free agency and get paid what they should get paid. So if you can defend and you're surrounded by scoring, you can play. If you can't defend, you better be a pretty good scorer. The league values both, like I said, but it's more about, that's what makes the job and the pick and the puzzle fascinating. It's not one guy. It's not one-on-one basketball. So when we look at our team, it's also who's the best player. But for example, Jordan Bell probably fits us better than he might another team, and that doesn't matter how he fits other teams. Does matter how he fits when we sign Sean and Andre, big guards that can move stuff off the ball. It doesn't much matter to us what the league values those guys as. It matters how we value them, and the league can value them however they want. That's fine. But for us, defensively, a guy that can defend certainly is important.
I see Draymond out there. How much input, how opinionated is he in this process?
He's opinionated about everything. He's never not opinionated.
Researched it.
No, he's actually, you know, Draymond's a brilliant mind. I mean, I remember when we drafted him, one of our coaches said he's already day two, one of our best defenders on the team. As far as his mind, it'd be the equivalent of drafting a middle linebacker in football. And second day in practice, you go, he could be our play caller. He could call it, and Draymond's that good and that sharp defensively, and actually his basketball acumen. So when he speaks, for me and anybody else, we give him the gravity that his comments deserve. Also, the fact he just loves basketball. I mean, what's he doing here? That's the other thing. You know, he's at our draft workout on a whatever day today, Tuesday, and stays. You know, he came in the draft room yesterday. That's the kind of guys you want. I mean, that's our business. It's basketball. So to have a guy like him, who's a three-time champion, care about who we're taking at 28, shows great leadership. I'm sure the players look over there and kind of say, "That's Draymond Green." You know, he was a 35th pick. It's motivation for those guys. So.
Did he share much perspective about that?
He kind of gave out. He stopped saying that a little bit. He hung on to that. And now I guess he's got his respect that he's looking for. But he hung on to that 35. He'll still bring it up when it's appropriate. But it's a great story. I mean, he should tell that story because it doesn't matter what number you are in the draft. There's a lot of guys in the second round or late first that have become really good players.
How many times has he come out to the draft workouts? I know you guys have had several.
think he was here yesterday a little bit. He was here one other time, so maybe this was his third. He says he's coming tomorrow. I don't know. We don't make him come. I mean, he can do whatever he wants.
Will he be with you draft night?
He says he might, but again, he doesn't have. He's just a player. He can come if he wants to, but having Draymond around always makes everything a little more entertaining. And but yeah, look, who am I to say I know more than Draymond Green about basketball? It probably is the other way around. So if you want somebody that opinion should hold some weight, he watches college. He comes to the workouts, so maybe he should make the pick.
I was wondering,
Is he high on all the Michigan State guys?
He weights the Michigan State guys a little bit more than others, but so what? That's his loyalty, and he's always asking about those guys.
Is he allowed to be front office and a player?
I think it's illegal, but
Okay.
if it's not formal, if it's an informal arrangement,
Gotcha.
yeah, no.
So you can't put him like on basketball operations.
I don't think so.
staff?
No.
Executive director of
pro
whatever.
bono, maybe. Yeah. No.
How much do you look back on drafting him at 35? It's, there's so many franchise-changing events for you guys, but hitting a home run at 35 like that.
Good luck, probably. I remember his workout. It was over there, and he just, if you were there and you watched, you couldn't help but notice him, and you couldn't help but notice that his team won every game, that he was the loudest, that he had a passion, that he had leadership. If you were interviewing him afterwards, I don't know if anybody was here that day.
Sorry.
Okay. you would remember interviewing him. You would remember your 5 minutes talking to him. He has that impact on people, and for those of you that watched him at Michigan State. But yeah, for us, to have him there, he's a guy we really liked. But again, luck. We drafted Festus at 30. So we're not perfect. I mean, we could have. We were so smart. Not that Festus wasn't good either. Festus was good for us too. But at the same time, it's some of it is good fortune, but for sure that draft pick put us in a direction that we're still benefiting from.
What has Draymond been doing while he's been at workouts? Just sitting with you guys, offering commentary, or?
He sits kind of over there and talks to whoever he wants to. I mean, sat next to him for a little while. He loves. I mean, look, you guys. It's just basketball. We're just talking about basketball players, and so, like I said, he's probably earned that, and is one of the. He's going to be Draymond. Is going to talk about basketball for the next 30 years, and he should, because he's that smart and that accomplished. So for us to have him kind of weighing in makes it more fun. Love the fact that he cares, and he's got some great thoughts.
How much have you looked at what the Spurs were able to do, kind of sustaining their success by hitting late in the draft in the second round?
I mean, they're the paragon. They're the ones that have 20 years of the playoffs, 5 championships, seem to have carried that label of being a contender for so long. I mean, I don't know. We've been only 4 or 5 years in that position. I can't imagine having 15 more years. And they've done it through really savvy maneuvering, great leadership, great organization at all levels, continuity. They're held up as kind of a beacon, them and the Patriots, as far as how to do it. But I think what they do so well is they seem to have quality people in their organization, and that is to be admired. And hopefully you can look at that and try to accomplish that, and we can try to do something like that here.
When you look at what's happening around the league or what's rumored to be happening, can you allow that to have any kind of impact on what you do? Maybe to play a little chess and be prepared for what might happen, just in case whoever might team up somewhere, and you kind of be ready for that, or do you just do what you do and let it fall where it may?
I mean, you hear, you're a human being, you hear different things, but it's hard to even get what we want to do done. It may not look like it, but just signing for us. We have a taxpayer mid-level, $5 million, and we have minimums. That seems like not much to do, but that'll be hard to find players that can help us. We need players that can help us. So yeah, certain things you can't help but hear, but at the same time, we can't do anything about a lot of these things. We have to focus on what we can control, and. But it's great. I mean, the league is in such a good spot. I mean, the amount of attention that goes into our draft, and the finals just ended, and the free agency. There's a huge insatiable. You guys are in the business. How much people want to hear about our league and who might be doing what. It's fascinating. It's fun to be part of it, and that's what makes it great, the competition.
The uncertainty with Loon and Pat, how much of that sort of plays into what you want to try to do here in the next couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, we have to assume that anything can happen with those guys. And so that's where you can fall back on drafting the best player. We just don't know where we're going to, the only guys we know we have are the ones that are under contract. And so beyond that, free agency has proven us all right and wrong many times. If you predict whatever you predict, you might be right half the time. We just don't know. There's 29 other teams. It takes one team to want a player. There's all kinds of teams trading. Cap space fluctuates all the time. So you have to assume that you could have both back, you could have neither back. You just don't know. So that's where you fall back on whoever the best player is for us at 28. We got to take, because you can't predict what free agency looks like.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bob.